Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Optics in Action, where we spotlight leaders with vision and clarity. And today I'm excited to have a really interesting guest, Filip Keuppens, and he is one of the partners at the Pickle Juice Company. And when I first got introduced to him and on LinkedIn and all this stuff, I'm like, this is intriguing. And he sent me some samples. And so, anyway, Filip, I'm excited to have you on this podcast and talk about your vision and clarity and about the product of pickle juice, which is a fun topic to talk about. Welcome.
Hey Ryan, it's great to be here. Thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely. So I always like to start episodes of the podcast with why do you do what you do? What's your purpose? Why do you do it? And learn a little bit more about you and the company.
Yeah, it's a great question, and it's something that we honestly need to reflect on more as leaders and people who do what we do, especially if we're not just trying to punch clocks and collect paychecks, right? If we want to create something that's sustainable, that's relevant, that matters. I do what I do because I think it allows me to achieve several things that I'm really passionate about. So we have a really unique go-to-market strategy that kind of combines elements of the traditional CPG go-to-market theories, combined with mission-based theories, combined with experiential theories. Not only do we have a product that we'll dive into in a sec about that really makes a difference and that does something acutely, effectively for something that affects about 50% of people, and it does it so much more effective than anything else in the world, to the point that it's being used globally by the most elite athletes all the way down to the weekend warriors and people who suffer from nighttime cramps and restless leg and stuff. So the fact that we've actually developed something and done it in a way that is a completely new approach, I believe, to acute solutions to physiological problems, where we're using purely natural ingredients to disrupt the nerve receptors within the human body to do what we need it to do. And so we have 100% efficacy proven within 82 seconds of ingestion, which is wild.
That is incredible. Those are incredible statistics. And I know when I first started learning about this a little bit, I started talking with one of my clients who's very into cycling, and his brother, his nephew is a very high performing athlete, soccer athlete. And as I started talking to them, they started researching it, and I think it's absolutely fascinating the more that I've been learning about it. So tell us a little bit about what pickle juice is, why pickle juice, we all know what pickle juice is, but what is it about pickle juice that makes it such an interesting and compelling solution to this problem?
Right. So interestingly, pickle juice has nothing to do with pickles. Pickle juice is a trade name like Band-Aid, Xerox, Kleenex, Thermos, Sharpie, whatever, because and we didn't set out to create a flavor profile. We set out to create a function. And I'll go back to some research that Dr. Kevin Miller did at BYU back in 2010, where he identified the fact that muscle cramps are a neurological phenomenon rather than a physiological phenomenon. The reason we've believed, and some people still do believe, because this is still relatively new science, that it's physiological is because of the previous treatments and many of the triggers that cause the neurological response are overt physiological triggers: dehydration, circulatory limitations, electrolyte imbalances. It could be a number of about 12 different things, but the imbalance of that, whatever that physiological trigger is, will stimulate a neurological response that's essentially an attentive corrective action triggered by your brain's saying, hey, something's going on in that muscle group or whatever. Let's try to fix it through essentially affecting a micro massage from the inside out. And that's why if you've ever had an exercise induced cramp, it's preceded by that little twinging stuff. And picture like the flexion, extension, counter muscle activity at a microbiological level, where if you flex your bicep, you have to release your triceps. So picture that at a microbiological level, where that pulsating is flex release, flex release, flex release, trying to like essentially massage fluids and blood flow and everything, concentrate electrolytes to that problem area. But at some point, the fail point comes in the release signal not being able to keep up with the engage signal. So it's just like this engage. So a muscle cramp is really a hyper engagement of the muscle. What we do is we engage the exact same nerve receptors that send the signal, thus overwhelming that neurological pathway with information, which we do by engaging that nerve activator at the esophageal receptor in the back of your throat. So that's why A, it has to be in a liquid form. B, it has to have a certain level of secret sauce that you're activating the right nerve center, and that's the secret. And it's not, so you can't be like, oh, I'll just drink the pickled brine out of the jar and do the same thing. It won't work. Yeah, because it's not. It's about the type of acetic acid we're using and the mixture and how it interacts with the other components within that product. So we couldn't like mask the acetic acid with something else and have the same
Yeah.
effect.
No, that's one of the things that I found fascinating. Some of the discussions is that even though muscle cramp seems like and as you just articulated, right? There's this physiological response. But there's also the neural pathways, and that you've figured out the formula for interrupting those neural pathways. Did I understand that in layman's terms in sort of the right perspective, or?
Yeah, for sure. That's it's essentially like the way to I joke and say if your nose itches and I kick you in the shin, your nose won't itch anymore. Your body can only process so much information. So if we overwhelm that the
Yeah.
central nervous system pathway with information, it prevents that cramp signal from getting through. So it kind of resets that flex extend stuff. And then we hit it with a bunch of electrolytes, like after we open that door. And that's why this works so well. But through my extensive research, I've never seen another product that it's labeled as a food. This is a USDA
Yeah.
organic certified product. There's no chemicals in it. There's nothing bad for you in there that works so effectively and so acutely against a very specific problem and does it in a fashion that works from the inside of the body out, meaning the central nervous system rather than other components like your GI tract and your digestive system and stuff like that. So I think in that sense, we're really the first ones in the world that are using hyperfunctional food products and ingredients to acutely affect the human body at the central nervous system level. And
Yeah.
we've done
Yeah.
tests, including one relatively recently with the UK national swim team, where our friend Thomas did a study as part of his dissertation at University of Stirling. So we had the UK national swim team, elite athletes, Olympic athletes, and we had 100% success in a clinical study after 82 seconds of ingesting this product. So if you had a cramp,
Wow.
you ingest this, your cramp is completely gone as if it never existed in 82 seconds and won't come back for about 45 minutes to an hour.
That's absolutely incredible.
That's a
And
game changer.
yeah, absolutely. So you mentioned there are some other people who can benefit from the product. It's not just about elite athletes, but there've been a few times in my even probably about 6 months ago where I woke up in the middle of the night and I just had this just massive cramp in my legs. And is this a product that can and it lasted for quite a while. Like I was in pain. Is does this work for those types of cramps as well, or somebody sleeping problems or things like that might be triggered by some of that?
Yeah, absolutely. And as a matter of fact, the elite athlete is like our credibility play, if you will. So we understand that kind of cause effect scenario when elite athletes, and you see this on TV, and we are really fortunate that we get this. We don't do any paid media at all. That's the whole mission-based experiential thing. So whenever you see people using our product, they're using our product. They're not promoting it. They're using it, and it works so well. And name me another product that you see like in the consumer package that's not paying to be on TV, like in NFL games and
Yeah.
the Tour de France and stuff like that. So we're really lucky and fortunate that people are like have really bought into this thing. But that's where our credibility comes from. That's not where our use case scenario comes from, not a primary use case scenario. It's actually the people who get nighttime leg cramps. It's people who want a healthier alternative or just a solution. Maybe pregnant women use it, right? People that have circulatory issues use it. We hear that people who have a condition called POTS use this and find a lot of relief there. But it's more difficult to explain the function and the efficacy using those really specific and unique scenarios. Whereas with the athlete, it's really easy to say, have cramp, drink this, cramp gone. But you're absolutely right. I'd say about 40% of our consumers are people who suffer from nighttime leg cramps. And if you take all those cramp sufferers together, you're representing about half the population.
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
a lot more people get like muscle cramping, and it becomes more and more common as we age and as our general population ages, and the boomers are getting older, so the senior community is getting older, and
Yeah.
really the reason as we get older that we're more prone to these nighttime cramps is because one of these triggers is circulatory, and that's why these nighttime leg cramps tend to occur in the arch of your foot or your calf or your big toe, because as we get older, your circulatory system ages and your heart has to work harder to flow all that blood flow, and that's why people needing compression socks and elevating, and we have to adjust our lifestyle to adjust for our circulatory system being a little less efficient.
Yeah, yeah, interesting. You've referred to the fact that you're not out there paying for sponsorships and paying for advertisements and things like this. And yet you're in a market where people are inundated oftentimes with nutraceuticals and supplements and all these other things. And yet, as I've been talking about this product with a handful of people over the past few weeks, like, people, there is an awareness of it out in the market. How did you decide that this is the way we're gonna do marketing? We're gonna market through word of mouth and just the product being marketed based on its actual performance and efficacy. And how do you navigate the challenges of all the paid promotions and all the things, the marketing that's out there and the noise of people? I'm sure business owners who are listening to this would love to understand the marketing strategy you've used and how that's enabled this success.
Yeah, and the reason we're doing it is because we no longer live in the landscape of consumer product goods from decades ago. The issue is that a lot of companies, the consumer goods, are run by people who came up decades ago. So you have what I believe to be a lot of archaic go-to-market methodologies. And the reality is, consumers. So there was a president of the Intuit years ago that said, companies are no longer what they tell people they are. They're what people tell each other that they are. So what we have to do as a consumer goods society is get very comfortable releasing our own narrative. Stop trying to control the message. Just do what you say you're going to do. Create products that matter. If your products suck, fix them. Don't tell people they don't suck. It sounds silly, but it's true. You're going to get exposed. Look at all of these nightmare scenarios like Volkswagen a few years ago. You
Yeah,
cannot hide the truth for consumers. And honestly, if you're trying to mislead people, if you like, there's companies out there that do things that are illegal and they budget the fines into their plans. It's awful. It's corrupt. It's not how we want to be. We want to be a company that not only changes the world with our products, but also shows to the world that you can be a really successful organization and do things the right way and be good people and be something that people want to work with. We want to be a company that people don't just use our products, but they believe in what we're doing. There's initiatives that we have going on that are driven purely by our vision and mission. Starting this month, our products are come in 100% recycled containers. We don't use any virgin cardboard, plastic, anything. Everything is 100% recycled. Do we have to do that? No. Do we want to do that?
yeah,
Yeah. Why? Because it's the right thing to do, and we want to be ahead of being custodians of society and the environment and stuff. And I think more companies need to do that. So the people that use our product, they dive deeper and deeper, and they're like, wait a minute, this stuff really works. And wait, these
yeah.
people aren't jerks. So we work with about 500 nonprofit charity organizations and events a year. And it's all health based, and it's certainly not, we don't get into politics or anything like that, but we try to make people's lives better. And I think you have to do that with your products and your demeanor and behavior.
Yeah. No, I love the leadership and the passion and the clarity that you have as an organization and as a founder, a partner in the Pickle Juice Company to have that clarity that we're going to develop a really good product and we're going to let the product speak for itself and we're going to do good things and have the results speak for themselves. I think that's an amazing thing in our culture today where there's so much noise of influencers and all these other things. And so I'm really honored that you took the time today to be on this episode of Optics in Action to share with us a little bit about what pickle juice is. It's not actually just pickle juice. This
Or
is
pickle brine. Yeah, it's not
actually
pickle
a
brine.
yeah. And it's what it is, how it impacts our bodies, and how people can benefit from it, and who benefits from it, and why all of this is important to you. So, Philip, I just really sincerely appreciate you being on the podcast today. How do people learn more if they're interested, if this has piqued their interest, whether for athletics or a medical condition or sleeping or whatever it is, if something has piqued their interest today, how do they get a hold of you to learn more?
Yeah, first of all, thanks so much for having me. This is a lot of fun, and because we don't do any like traditional paid advertising, we're very dependent on people like you supporting us and then letting people know that we're out there. So thank you so much. It means a lot. We really appreciate it. But to find more about us, go to picklepower.com. Any more, you can probably just Google Philip Pickle and stuff comes up, which is, that's not because I'm important. It's because my name's spelled different. But no, picklepower.com. We also have about 15,000 retail outlets in the United States that sell our product everywhere from your local bike shop and running shop all the way up to and including Walmart and major grocery chains. So we're out there. There's a lot of scientific studies that we're linking up on our website. You can see, yeah, like I said, we try to be as transparent as possible. And really, if people call us and want to talk to any of us here, we're always happy to have those conversations as well.
Well, thank you again, Philip, for being on this episode of Optics in Action. And we will definitely be posting about this and sharing it and spreading the word because I think it's absolutely amazing to find a company like yours in today's culture and society that's out there really just working on doing good. And so thank you for being on this episode. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.